1.
What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and I'm here with Greg McGarity. And this is the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection Show presented by Toyota, where each and every week we go over the landscape of college football and how it correlates to the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl played here December 27th at 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m.
Yep.
Live, national, putting our city on the map. One of the greatest bowl games ever. So good that I played it in and decided to be a part of it. What's going on, Greg? How you doing?
Week 10. It's almost over, so...
It just started, though. How could it almost be over when it just started?
I know.
Each and every week, something comes up. College football is unpredictable. Who would have thought that some of the teams are at the top of both of these conferences that they are, but it does make sure that we'll get a great selection again, so we'll have a great bowl game for you guys to look at. What were some of the things in the SEC that shocked or surprised you this past weekend?
Well, besides the situation at LSU and the way Texas A&M just dominated them, it was a week where Alabama struggled, but they found a way to beat South Carolina. You saw that great. Vandy had, really continues to shine with their win over Missouri, and Ole Miss's win was really impressive. So on the SEC side, you've got a lot of interesting things there. As we mentioned, Brian Kelly's situation there, but I thought you saw some teams really, like Alabama, found a way to win after being down. Ole Miss kind of flipped the script as opposed to being up on Georgia. They were down against Oklahoma and found a way to win. So set up some interesting dynamics this weekend for some teams that continue to try to make their way into the college football playoff.
Yeah, goes to one of those good old football quotes. Good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way to lose. And including with the kind of, you talked about it a little bit, a little off script of some. What are your thoughts? We know Auburn, there's a lot of coaches that that have been let go or on the hot seat. Doesn't really do anything for you at this point.
No, all it does is really cause confusion, not only for those that follow college football, but also those that are playing the game, the players, and the coaches too, because they're all wondering what's going to happen next year or even next week. So you've got a lot of uncertainty there, which it has caused, but it certainly has brought shined a light on how volatile the coaching profession is. I mean, there's so many jobs open right now. We're not even into November. So you've got some schools, is it the right time to make a change? Because I don't know how deep the pool is of proven head coaches, not to mention proven head coaches that want to leave their school. So I think there's a lot of uncertainty, and it's probably not the best time of the year or a best season to be looking for a head coach. So I'm sure there'll be more chaos, but certainly the musical chairs are going to start very quickly here.
It is Halloween coming around the corner, and it is Jimmy Sexton season. So he is the boogeyman. So he does a lot of different things. Transitioning over to the ACC, we saw Miami the previous week kind of lay an egg against a good Louisville team. But they kind of Carson Beck and company bounced back with a very dominant performance. What were some of the key games in the ACC that we should kind of reflect on?
Well, I think Georgia Tech continues to impress. I mean, Syracuse has really struggled since their quarterback's been out. You saw SMU lose to Wake Forest. That was a tough loss for SMU because now Miami goes to SMU this weekend. So that's going to be a huge game. And Virginia continues to eke out some wins. They go to the West Coast and play Cal this weekend. So that's a game to really keep your eyes on, because right now, if Virginia and Georgia Tech won out, they'd be playing in Charlotte for the ACC championship. So I know Miami's hoping that one of those teams will have a loss so they could maybe slide in there. But I think you're going to see some really tight games, but keep an eye on that Virginia at Cal game.
Yeah, going back into even looking at it more in depth. Yeah, Miami is the more marquee team coming out of the ACC, so that's probably the one that, with Clemson and Florida State not living up to their expectations again, that's probably who you want taking the lead for the college football playoff. But the SMU game, interesting with the coach in Lashley, who's coached at the University of Miami. Now, kind of, you're fighting for your life right now. So, Are there any other games in the ACC? I know you said Virginia Cal, but are there any other games that are kind of similar to that will have some excitement that people should be tuned in for?
Well, I think Wake at Georgia Tech, because Wake's kind of in the hunt for one of our bowl spots. Duke is in the race, but they can't play in our game. But they're having a level of success because Duke's at Clemson this weekend. So can Clemson put their act together and win out? You've got so many dynamics at play there, but Georgia Tech is, I think, in a great space. I think Notre Dame, if they win out, they've got a great chance to be in the college football playoff. If not, they'll be one of the potential teams in our game. So a lot of games that might not affect the national race, but certainly will affect those that would be in play for Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
And the only ones that Duke can't come back.
Ole Miss.
I was talking about ACC slate.
Yeah.
But Duke's the only Clemson because that was still
2
relatively
years,
yeah.
Yeah.
So going over into the SEC, what are some of the games and matchups this week that we should be looking forward to?
Well, I think Vandy at Texas probably is one of the top 3 games. It's a great triple header this year.
That's hilarious. Who would have thought Vandy and Texas would be one of the games that we want? The smart boys are coming out swinging, and Grandpa was it Diego Pavia? Grandpa Pavia is doing his thing.
Well, you got Georgia, Florida, and I know that has national implications for Georgia, and then I think it revives the Florida fan base. They've got a reason to be excited now. They've got some new leadership with Billy Gonzalez leading the. So who knows? You can't ever predict what's going to happen in this rivalry game. But really the biggest game, other than Vandy and Texas, is going to be Tennessee hosting Oklahoma. I think that is really, if Tennessee loses that game, they may be out of the college football playoff. If Oklahoma wins, that may put them at least in a spot to where if they won out, they could possibly be in. So a lot riding on that game. But again, a triple header that will really feature some really, really good games in the SEC this weekend.
All right. One of the things is who all is eligible as the landscape. I think you said, how many bowls are there?
43 bowls. So at some point in this time, this is going to have 86 teams, hopefully, populating this space here. But you're already seeing we're not even to November 1st. We're week 10, but you've already got a lot of teams that have already qualified and, some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces up there. But it just shows that the bowl system is strong. Teams want to go to bowls, especially in the state of Florida. So we got a lot of good things going. But this board will really populate itself even after this week because there are a lot of teams that have 5 wins that'll be going for that 6th win this weekend.
Starting next week, we'll be getting the CFB playoff rankings, so we'll be talking about that, how it affects. Yeah. But just looking at this board, we know if everything ended today, Georgia Tech and Virginia would be playing in the ACC championship, meaning our pool would be to pick between Pitt, Miami, and Louisville, and the SEC. Shoot, Texas A&M is the tops there, and then who knows who would be the next team. But it would make for a really, really interesting matchup, and we'll start talking about those a little bit more so that you can be better than the experts who absolutely have no clue how a bowl game gets picked, which sometimes we don't either. But a lot of people thought it would be one way until somebody gets upset. But that's what makes college football beautiful, and that's the joy behind it. Make sure you check it this week. This week we have some really, really cool things with the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl that you should be involved in. We have. Can you talk a little bit about the biggest game, almost bigger than the bowl game, that gets played this weekend? If you're going to Florida, Georgia, enjoy that. That is not the reason to be in the city. Can you tell us what's happening Sunday?
Well, we've got what we think is our biggest game of the year. Well, second to the bowl game, obviously, but. To be able to host the Little Gator Bowl in the stadium, in Everbank Stadium on Sunday, literally all day. The first game start, almost at the crack of dawn, right around 8 o'clock. And then the last game, we're over by usually sundown. But they're Pop Warner teams that have advanced to this stage. The winners of all the games receive a nice championship ring. WWGA does such a great job helping sponsor that event. But it's our fans will occupy the west stands this year because the east stands that area is under construction as far as access to the stadium. So we'll flip the fans over to the west side of the stadium, but we encourage everyone to come watch it. It's a lot of fun to watch these young people run around, full pads, and as we said before, their biggest event of the day is actually getting to be in dressing rooms, the locker rooms. So they don't usually experience that, but now they're in the same locker rooms that the college teams use and the visiting NFL team uses. But it'll be a great event, and it's Sunday, starting early in the morning, and we encourage everybody that loves to come and enjoy a little old school football. Come to the stadium Sunday and see some great action.
I know when we do our scouting trips, you're not supposed to be biased and you're not supposed to wear, but I will be there. Might even be trying to coach a little bit in my green jacket with a headset on, because University Christian Athletic Association's 10U team is on there.
Yeah.
And I do coach there, and our 13U was able to receive one of those rings. We really appreciate that for what the Taxpayer Gator Bowl does for the community, which is one of the benefits of being involved in it. Also, you get a chance to listen to the show where me, Big Game James _36, and Greg McGarity talk to you about the landscape of college football and how it affects the Taxpayer Gator Bowl, played here on December 27th, 7:30 p.m. on national TV. For Greg McGarity, I'm at Big Game James _36, and this is the Taxpayer Gator Bowl Drive to Selection Show presented by Toyota. We will see you guys next time.